Hi everyone, Ryan here with Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Mackenzie Dern and Randa Markos. If you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so Randa Markos versus Mackenzie Dern. This is an interesting fight of fighters kind of on different trajectories at this point in their career. Mackenzie Dern, still relatively new to the UFC, had a few fights. But then she had the layoff because of the pregnancy. Now she's coming back. This will be her third fight since then. And Randa Marcos, who has kind of been up and down in a lot of regards. Not a whole lot of hype, not a whole lot like Mackenzie Dern had when she came into the UFC. And since coming in, it's kind of been a middle of the road type, I would say, type career, right? Got some wins, got some losses, definitely fought some competition. So these two are going to meet up, strawweight division, see who continues to move forward. So Mackenzie Dern. Now, she comes from a highly decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, won all kinds of national, international competitions, comes over into MMA, and starts trying to make her mark. So the first thing that you would think she has to work on, and you'd be correct, is her striking. And her striking is interesting. It's interesting. So she seems to prefer to use it at this point. You look at a lot of her past fights, even the ones where she'll get submissions, she doesn't force that. Her takedowns are great. You don't see her trying to force takedowns. You don't see her trying to go to that right away. She seems perfectly comfortable standing on the feet. The thing about her striking game is it's all about power. She's athletic. She's strong. She's got fast hands. And every punch that she throws has bad intentions on it. She's been working on the jab a little bit. I like the way she's been implementing that more and more into her game. But really everything she does is just a setup for that overhand right. She wants to throw that right hand. She wants to tear your head off with it. You know, you get on the ground, she's going to jump on top of you, take your back, and choke you out. That's how she does everything. It'll be interesting to see if she continues to develop and add more into her game. For example, I've seen her throw the check left hook a little bit, but it's not really there. It's not that good. She kind of keeps her head up when she throws it and leans back a little bit too much versus getting out of the line. So that's not really her game yet. On the downside, she doesn't really use a lot of head and upper body movement when it comes to the striking. Kind of moves in straight lines a little bit. She seems to have a great chin on her, really tough. Unfortunately, it probably makes her comfortable with taking some shots instead of working on her defense, getting off that center line, getting her head out of the way, doing more technical things. When you can eat a shot, when you can take it and it doesn't bother you that much, it just kind of changes your mindset a little bit as far as what you're trying to do. Keeps her focused on her offense probably and trying to get her shots off. And the other thing is you can see that she has a problem with speed. Somebody's faster than her, they can beat her to the punch. Her timing isn't great yet. It's probably because she's relatively new to striking. So if you're faster than her, people can beat her to the punch if they're faster and they want to act first. And then the other thing in that Hannah Cyphers fight, which was her last one, you could see she's got a little bit of problem with pressure. Hannah just came in there like a savage, just bull in a china shop, tearing stuff up. And Dern didn't really quite know how to handle that. Again, you know, she's relatively new to striking. And when you're relatively new, you're not going to have all the little tricks and nuances in your game that are going to help you deal with these things that you've been seeing for years. Again, we'll have to see how her game continues to evolve. Now, Randa Marcos, it's interesting. 4 fights ago, she goes into this Angela Hill fight. And I remember her saying in the build up to the fight, she's like, I've been relying on my grappling a little bit too much. I need to work on my striking. Okay. Goes to a Muay Thai camp specifically for that fight, wants to work on some things. Sounds good. Right now, I didn't expect her to be at Angela Hill's level when it comes to striking. She's been a Muay Thai practitioner for a long time. Okay, great. But then she goes into her next fights, and you can see that she's relying on her striking a little bit more. When she's in there against Ashley Yoder and Amanda Hebos and things like that, she was relying on her striking more. True, she's always seems to find herself in some kind of grappling, other than with Claudia Gadelha, but she was relying on the striking more. And the thing that I notice is her striking is a little bit basic. There's nothing really exotic to it. She's got the 1 and the 1-2. She'll throw a right hand. She finds ways to get her shots off. She'll throw at an odd little timing. She understands. She's got a good understanding of distance. Nothing great. The thing, honestly, that stands out to me about her is the fact that nothing really stands out. I think of her, she's kind of like a blue-collar fighter. So her striking, yeah, she's got a good 1, good 1-2. She lands some shots, gets them off. But doesn't have great timing, doesn't have great hand speed, doesn't have great defense, doesn't work angles all that well. Just good or slightly above average. Same thing with her wrestling. Same thing with her grappling. I mean, Ashley Yoder out-grappled her. She's a blue-collar fighter in a lot of regards. Average to slightly above average. I'll tell you one thing that she does, though. She shows up. She shows up to fight. She shows up to work. She's going to put in maximum effort, which means that she's going to beat a lot of people, even people that are a little bit more talented than her. So it makes this interesting. So what's it going to look like when Mackenzie Dern and Randa Markos actually step in there against each other? I think this fight's primarily going to be played out on the feet. I think both women are comfortable keeping it striking, and I don't really see any reason that it's going to change, right? Randa Markos has some better takedowns, but I don't think she wants to tangle with Mackenzie Dern on the ground. Mackenzie Dern, there's levels to everything that we do, and her level of jiu-jitsu seems far higher than Randa Marcos' level of jiu-jitsu. So I don't see Marcos initiating clinches, don't see her initiating the takedown, trying to get to that position. And Mackenzie Dern, same thing. Even though she's that decorated Brazilian jiu-jitsu athlete, she doesn't really initiate that. If it goes there, super comfortable, she'll get down there, she'll choke you out, she'll go with the knee bar, whatever the situation may call for, but she doesn't seem to push it. I think this one will stay on the feet. It'll be striking based. And there's going to be some exchanges, and both women are going to be able to land some shots. Marcos is going to be able to get off with her jab. She's going to be able to land her right hand and 1-2s and some things like that. But I think the overall control of the fight and the story and the pace and how the striking plays out is going to go with Mackenzie Dern. I'm actually taking her in this fight. I think she's going to be able to get off with her jab. I think she's going to be able to get off with that big overhand right, and she's going to be able to land. Marcos doesn't move off the center line enough. She doesn't move her head enough. And she's the slower, less athletic fighter between the two of them. So Mackenzie Dern, she's comfortable being in there. She's comfortable taking some shots to give them. Like I said earlier, she's really tough. She's got a chin. She's going to land that big right hand. That's all she's looking to do when she's setting up that striking. If she wobbles Marcos, or if she drops her, then it's going to go into a grappling exchange. And she's going to work quick to take the back and get some kind of choke and get her out of there. Whether or not that happens, to me, it is totally dependent on whether or not she can hurt Marcos with one of her strikes. Because Dern hits hard, right? She's got real power in that right hand. And she goes out there and she throws him with bad intentions. So it's very possible that she's going to actually hurt her in the fight and able to get a stoppage. I wouldn't bet on it or anything like that, but I do think she comes out with the victory in this fight. I do think she's able to control the stand-up, probably be more aggressive, control the distance and the pace, push Marcos back up against the cage on occasion, and land the bigger, harder shots. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Is this going to be the comeback for Mackenzie Dern after getting smoked by Amanda Ribas? Comes out here, gets another win, and the hype train continues on to bigger and better things? Or is Randa Markos really able to come and kind of derail that and get her own thing going?